What is up, Tube users? I'm the Stereotypical Gamer, and welcome back to another episode of Z to A. Today, we're diving into this small, little, fun game called West Hunt. This is definitely a fun little game to play with friends. Not necessarily to play online, but we'll get to the bad of this game in a little bit. Let's talk about the good, because it is a fun little game. It totally reminds me of the Guess Who game mode in Gmod. And I know other games have it, but Gmod's kind of game that I harken back to with a lot of these like small little game modes that they have. And it's basically you have a sheriff who is trying to find an outlaw, and the outlaw is basically trying to act as an NPC. So it kind of reminds me of that Guess Who game mode where you're just trying to find the person that's not the NPC while they're trying to act like an NPC. So it is fun, but there's also like stuff to do in this game. It's definitely more fleshed out than Gmod's game, but yeah, it's great. I love the look of this game. I love the style. The maps are really cool. There's a lot to it, like, and you have there's like a ranking system where you can get skins and stuff, so there is like reasons to keep playing. You know, it's not just a fun game to play because of a fun game. You can get rewards and stuff for doing well in certain matches, and yeah, it's a fun little game, that's for sure. And so basically how it works when you're playing the sheriff like I am here is you have all these mailboxes around the map, and basically anytime the outlaw does some sort of criminal activity, it will show up on... You'll get a ping from a mailbox, and it will show you what they did and where they did it. So you kind of have to... It's kind of cheeky, I feel, what you have to do to try and win as a sheriff. I never won as a sheriff, and I really think this game is heavily balanced against the sheriff, at least in like the standard customizations of things. It's definitely balanced against the sheriff, but you can do some custom options. I think in this game we did some custom options to make it a little bit easier for the sheriff, because it's not easy, that's for sure. And so basically the outlaw's goal is to finish all of the missions in the allotted time they have, which can also be pretty tough because it takes a long time to do these missions. And there's, I think in this one, obviously you could change it in customizations and everything, but it takes 10 seconds to do every single mission. You have 7 missions, just base, and then I think it's a 3-minute timer. So you basically have to use a third of your time just doing these missions, because I don't believe if you do a mission that it ups the time. I think the time remains the same. And it is kind of weird, because if you're looking at the time right now as the sheriff, the time goes up, but I believe they do that because whenever you get a hint, you get the time that they did the thing or whatever, and it gives you an idea of when they did this thing and where they did it, so it helps you out, but you don't actually know how much time the outlaw has before they fail their mission. So yeah, I would definitely say if you're looking to pick this game up and you're gonna play with friends, they have a 1v1 mode, which it's fun. This is what we're playing here. And I would really like to try the 2v2. I think 2v2 with a group of 4 friends would be really fun. But it's tough, especially online. I think there's some things that just I need to learn about this game before I can make full judgments on it. But it was fun to play. It's definitely better game with friends, but it's still a fun game overall just to play. I did play a few rounds of just myself going into lobbies. It definitely has a low player base because there was nothing. It took so long to find a game, and maybe it could be their servers, but I think it's because the player base is so low. But yeah, if you're looking to pick this game up and you're gonna play it with friends, definitely play a custom match to start out to get your feet wet. What we did here is we upped the time for the Outlaw because the Outlaw doesn't have a whole lot of time. Like, they have like a third of the time they have to be doing activities, so we upped that time a bit. And then we made it so the sheriff has 3 shots before they lose. Technically, in the base game, you only get 1 shot, which can be pretty difficult with how many NPCs there are and just how everything works. It's it's tough. So yeah, let's just, now that we just touched on that a bit, let's dive into some of the bad of this game. I really do think that this game is heavily favored for the Outlaws. I don't think the hint system for the sheriff really does much. I think there's a few ways that I could think of that would help them, but really it has to be better balanced, because we never won as the sheriff because it's just so difficult. You have 1 shot in the base game. We upped it to 3, which made it a little bit easier, but we still never won as the sheriff with 3 tries at finding who the player was. It's extremely difficult because you get these hints and you have to go to these mailboxes to get the hint. So the best way to try and look for the outlaw is to camp a mailbox, which, granted, there's mailboxes all over the place, but if you're far away from one and you get a hint, it goes to, the hints go to the nearest mailbox to you. So you always want to be near a mailbox to receive a hint if one comes up. So it's really difficult to try and find the outlaw while also getting these hints to help you find the outlaw. It's kind of lame in that sense. And I think one way to help that out is to either give the sheriff a little bit faster movement, because they do stand out, right? Like, you always know where they are. You could see them through. I guess you can turn off that, which may make it easier for the sheriff. You can turn that off in the customizations to see the sheriff through walls. So, like, I'm always able to see him, right? I just saw him right there. He's super far away. And so I'm always going to try and do activities when he's furthest away from me, right? So you really want to do that. And I guess I just saw there, you do gain 30 seconds every time you do an activity. So there is some help, but 30 seconds is still 1/3 of the time it takes to do a mission, right? So you gotta have, you really gotta be on your game playing the outlaw. And like, as you saw there at the beginning of the round, there's different types of outlaws you can be. You can be a shapeshifter, which I chose, which can change your costume. You can do, like, you can have a teleportation. You have, like, all this stuff to help you as an outlaw. And there's really nothing for the sheriff, which is, again, it just harkens back to it being not that balanced in favor of the sheriff. So I really do think, like, some sort of, like, movement speed, because everything moves really slow in this game. You just have this walking pace. It's really slow to turn and stuff, and so it's easy to act like an NPC when you don't have to, like, keep pace with, or when it's easy to keep pace with other NPCs in the game. So it's pretty easy. Just just trying to act like an NPC. Obviously, it's difficult with the missions, and it makes it a more interesting game. But yeah, I really do think that this game is heavily favored against the sheriff. And so I just want to harken this game and compare it to Guess Who and Garry's Mod, and why I feel that game is more balanced for the hunters and the NPCs, or whatever you want to call them. First off, there is a sprint, so there is definitely different movement, and the NPCs can't strafe, which there is no strafing in this game. You have like this slow turn and you'll start to walk another way. There's no strafing. NPCs in Gmod can't strafe, so if you're trying to find a non-NPC, a player, you can just look for player or NPCs, quote unquote, that are strafing. That and I don't know if it was in all of the games, but in some, maybe it was just like custom Garry's Mod, where you would get powers for doing certain things in the game, and I think it was mainly just like you had to touch the hunters and you would gain a power of some sort. So you definitely wanted to stay close to the hunters to try and gain these powers to help you out and stuff. So there was interesting things like that help balance in the hunter's favor. Here, there's really none of that. And I think we may need to like play more custom games and balance it, just because the base game is definitely heavily favored in the Outlaws' favor. But yeah, I hope they do more balancing and add more stuff to this game, because it was really fun to play. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure to leave a like if you did, comment, and definitely hit that subscribe button. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.